up, dudes? Steven here today. And today, what I wanted to talk to you about is stocks, the global economy / the market, business, and your role in all of this. Now, quick disclaimer, I've never fucking bought a stock. I'm not a stock trader, not a financial analyst. So if that's an issue, you can just close this video. And no hard feelings, bruh. It's all good. I understand you need to hear from the experts, so fuck do I know. But anyways, I've been thinking a lot about how I would approach this video, and I feel like the way to do it is to just fucking start at the root, right? And in my opinion, the root lies in the fucking farmers. It's all about the farmers. Like, you've probably heard me say that a lot recently, but it really is. Because at the end of the day, they're the original entrepreneurs. Meaning, they say I had an apple, and you had a pear, right? And then maybe to make my salsa, I needed a pear. And at the time, I didn't have a pear on hand. So then I'd ask you if you had a pear. And then you'd be like, yeah, dude. And then you'd be like, oh, dude, to make your salsa, you needed an apple, right? And I had one. And you didn't have an apple on hand. And so we traded. And then boom. And that's fucking the beginning of trade. Like trade or business in its original sense. Like, that's what it was about. Like, and then you just do that on scale. So maybe needed a horse, has food, he has food, needs a horse, and then that's pretty much how it fucking evolved, right? And then this tragedy is at some point, the fucking realm, the business realm or the entrepreneurship realm kind of got tainted to where it became, instead of like this pure intentions where it was to just fucking do shit while still celebrating the diversity that is life. Maybe because he had apples, he had pears, I had apples, etc. Or even I had both and he had something else, right? We always celebrated what we all had, because at the end of the day, we all have something unique. Like, we all bring particular skills, particular talents that make each one of us unique, right? Like, fucking Norse gods, Norse G's can fucking draw runes, literally characters that imbue energy or that are imbued with energy within it. And so they can warp reality in a way, right? And then you have other people who can use music to actually essentially warp reality in another way. Other people can sing, right? And warp reality in another way. Other people can write, warp reality in another way. Other people can literally just breathe reality and warp it into another way. And so, like, this combination or variety of talents and skills provides the opportunity for a swaggy ass fucking world. Because what I can do can help what you want to do. Maybe, for example, you're trying to create an incredible piece of music and you feel like there's just this one note missing. And I'm like, dude, I know what it is. And then I like help you play the note. And you're like, oh, yeah, dude. And then I'm like, oh, dude, I feel like I'm missing something in my crossover. And you're like, dude, this is what it is. And so it was just like, and that's how you fucking create a golden ass fucking global economy. It's not this fucking competition shit where it's like me versus you, but it's literally a trade. It's literally like you're not even doing it for profit, but it's literally for the evolution of life. And the funny thing is when the intentions are that pure, you end up getting everything you wanted and more anyways without even fucking realizing it. You end up getting currencies that you never thought was possible, right? There are different types of fucking monies. People always jiving about like, oh, I gotta have paper. But what if today paper becomes useless? What if the new currency is fucking faith, and how much faith you actually have, how much you actually care about other people's wellness, how much like how much trust people actually have in you. What if that becomes a new currency? Then your paper becomes worthless because you go somewhere and people won't even want to accept it because they don't even like you. Like shit like that, right? It's like, I feel like too often, or especially today, we just placed our priorities on the wrong things. And because of that, it's essentially caused us to do the shit that we knew not to do, the shit that we were trained to not do, the shit that your fucking mom would always be like, don't fucking do that shit because it's stupid and dumb. And I didn't raise you like that. And it turns out that fucking mom was right, because now look at where you are and what those decisions ended up leaving you with. Yeah, short time fun, but then long term death. But anyways, it's all about that fucking spirit. The spirit from the farmers. And so I'll kind of start talking about how they're tied into stocks in ways that people don't realize. Because at the end of the day, everything goes back to the farm. Reason being, anything you see today comes from a raw resource, right? Everything from like fucking the plastics to the ceramics to anything literally comes from a resource got from a farmer that has been converted through whatever process is necessary, chemical, energetical, bioenergetical, whatever process that's necessary to convert that raw resource into the chemical or the material that is now what is known as the plastic or the ceramic or the metal, etc., etc. It's all from them. And so my point is, if you actually are doing the right things, if you're actually having the wellness of others in mind, if you're actually doing the right things, meaning pricing it at the price that is suggested by the farmer or even the source, right? Instead of always trying to fuck people over and seeing how you can get yours. You get $1, you'll be rewarded endlessly because now you have proven that you don't get phased by the fucking dollar or by the paper. Meaning, we all know that the things that fucking getting money does to people, right? It's almost like they just get this glazed over look on their eyes. Literally become hypnotized. And what do they see? They see the things that they can buy with it, right? Forgetting that at the end, all those things really have no inherent value of themselves. They're just objects. Like a yacht is just a fucking object. Meaning, a yacht not on the water is useless, right? Fucking cars are just an object. A car that does not have any gas is useless, right? Shit like that. Or fucking even gas. Like gas where gas in an economy or a place that doesn't use it, or is moving towards your renewable energies, or self-driving cars, or even fucking flying cars is useless. So it's like everything at the end of the day is just an object. and it doesn't have any value inherently, meaning when it's born, it's not really that valuable. You come and place a subjective reality that then defines its value, right? That's why in a lot of like I guess like wealthy or wealth building, they're always asking a question. Or if you always hear like interviews by like wealthy people, they're like, "What is the one?" If they answer, "What would you tell your kids if? What would you teach your kids about money if you couldn't pass on your wealth to them? You couldn't pass on the money, but you could just only pass on the information." And they just start. Life is about life. Love. Be good. Do good things. Save your money. Don't spend it frivolously. Like all this shit that's like timeless and true, right? Like read The Richest Man in Babylon. That's a fucking great book, right? Because at the end, when all that shit is gone, all you have is you. And maybe the knowledge, if you did truly build it, that you can build up that wealth again and again and again and again and again and again. So going there, you can actually, when you know that the source of everything is in essentially the farmers, your eyes open because you're like, holy shit, they dictate everything, and they actually operate seasonally, meaning there is a time to plant seeds, right? And then there's a time when they collect the fruits of those labors, right? And if you know that everything is essentially fucking based on them and that seasonal change, you can actually, in a sense, predict the value of a stock or predict the value of a price of a stock, right? Which we also have to go into, like, what is actually a stock? How does that fucking work? But let me just finish on that, right? Say something, for example, is milk, right? Milk is produced by cows, right? When we get closer to summer, there's less water abundant, meaning there's less grass, right? So that means that they won't be fucking titting up or blasting, dropping some fucking milk swag as much because there's not as much grass to eat, which there's not as much water that can be collected from the soil or the ground or the earth itself. So they won't be producing as much milk, meaning that as summer gets closer, milk will go up in price. And there you go. Now, if milk doesn't go up in price, then that either means that you probably have a really good relationship with a farmer somewhere, aka you're on the radar of a farmer and he fucking likes you so much that he's allowed one of his selling sources to sell it to you at a discount price. And that's by virtue of your good deed. And that's how you're fucking rewarded, by being good. Which is why it's like that old time, let's just be fucking nice, is so key and fundamental. And not nice coming from like a fake place, like you're doing it to expect something, but just you know that you would like other people to be nice to you in the same way that your fucking mom or your parents did. When you were a bad dude, they didn't just kill you. They literally were just patient with you. Even fucking boring through or going through your inner drama with you, right? Like when you were going through puberty and you were dealing with anxiety, they were there to nurse you and soothe you and support you. Like I was just thinking about this, how like fucking moms like go through essentially getting punched in the nipple by their nipples because they're fucking lactating, going through like all the bullshit that goes into raising a kid, and at the end it's like, thanks, mom. That's just so much. But it's in the same way you would treat people because that's just how you know life should be on some inherent level. Like you just know that that's how we should be amongst one another. And what's cool is by you doing that, just like with anything else, you're essentially strengthening that spirit, essentially cultivating that energy, making it to where that ecosystem is more likely to be operating in that manner, which opens up opportunities for everyone. Plus, making everyone in that ecosystem better because everyone starts seeing that it is the thing to do. And so, as it is done more, it becomes the norm. And as that becomes the norm, the consciousness becomes elevated. And as the consciousness becomes elevated, the wealth come about from a fruitful spirit begins to manifest. Swag ideas, swag potential to do really cool shit, swag fucking currencies, like things that had never been seen or not seen in centuries just coming about magically, like if by magic, when it's driven by your actions, by your behaviors, by your thoughts, by your state of mind. So always think about that. Now, that is fucking stocks, prices, right? Now, let's talk about how that's kind of tied to. Actually, let's break it down first as what a stock is. So, you have a pie, and this is probably my most hated part because I hate stocks for the reason that they're not. When it was first created, a stock meant that essentially when you buy a stock, literally this is what you're doing. I like this company so much that, like a plant to a tree or like water to a tree, I will give it more water, right? And I always talk about trees and plants and growing plants because it's literally the same way you grow a business. If you know that all a tree needs is water, soil, and fucking love, so putting in your soul into it, then you know how to build a business, right? Because when you buy a stock, you're essentially saying that this tree, this plant that is the business, is doing it's such a good thing. And I want to help and provide it more water, more soil, and more love. That's literally what you're doing. It was never this thing where like you're buying your way into the company to fucking start spearing your shit. Now, it was never like that because you have to remember that a business is its own unique entity, right? It's like, think of it as like a unique DNA. So its operation, the way it's operated, the way it's even made is unique. And you can't just barge into it, especially when you didn't even do your homework. You don't even fucking know what's up. You don't know its foundation, the story, blah, blah, blah. You can't just barge into it and just start spewing shit, right? So, respect the fucking place. And then furthermore, respect the operator. And then this kind of ties into essentially what to buy good stock into, or what's a good stock, etc. Right? Just like it has something good, like it's literally providing a real service or product in the best way that it possibly can. Meaning no bullshit, like quality 100, 100. Like it's not bullshit. It's not like the shit where shit's failing all the fucking time, where they disrespect customers, blah, blah, blah. But it's literally doing everything right. And then the operator, like the people running it, are doing it like they fucking care. Like that's their baby, right? And then on top of that, it's making good use of its resources, right? So it's not spending money stupidly. It's not gambling. It's literally just staying in its own lane, doing its thing, and understanding that it's all about the fucking long term potential, long term growth, and it's patient in that, executing properly and making the right decisions as time goes. Having that track record of doing that. That's a fucking swaggy ass business, right? Now, to go back, what is a stock? This is where I hate it because I hate fractions, but you have this pie. Here is this pie. Let's say that this pie is worth $10, right? Now, say that I want to cut a piece of that pie. What would I have to do? I would have to essentially decide what is the size of that pie. Because the size of that one pie will essentially, and I think maybe that's inherently why I always hated fractions, because I'm all about keeping things whole. And I think the worst thing you can do is break your shit up into fucking little pieces. Like, I'm not about that Harry Potter Horcrux shit. I either have it all or it's just not worth it. Because nothing in life has ever been designed to be fragmented into pieces. When you hear fragmented, you hear broken. So, fucking, why would I do that to my baby? That is my business. But anyways, for the sake of the discussion, it's like, so that one piece now dictates how many pieces you're breaking up your pie into, right? Because how many pieces you're breaking up your pie into dictates exactly how much one slice of that pie is worth, right? So for ease, let's say that I'm deciding each slice is worth, or I'm cutting it in 4 pieces, right? So this slice is 1/4. And because there are 4 pieces and the whole pie is worth $10, this pie is worth $10 times 0.25, right? That's the worth of that fucking slice. And that's what stocks are. You're essentially buying a piece of that fucking pie. Now remember that you're in my way of thinking about it, of course, as I mentioned, I don't know shit, so blah blah blah, take this however you want it. But how I see it is I'm literally saying I care about this baby so much that I want, and I see it like when they talk about like real recognize real, game recognize game. Like, I really want to see this thing succeed, so I will really help to give it more water, more nutrients, and more fucking love, right? What does this equate to in reality? This equates to higher capital, right? If you look at an accounting fucking book, a lot of times, for example, you'll see piece of stock, and then in return they get cash, right? So when you buy a stock, you're essentially you're giving them your money, and then you're getting a piece of the pie. Essentially saying you're getting a paper that says, okay, I now have a piece of this pie, right? And maybe you buy a bit more, and those are essentially what fucking shares and all that shit are, right? So now that they got cash, that's essentially what you call a fucking cash infusion or capital infusion. Now, people don't realize that it's fucking funny, but how everything is interconnected and everything at the end is operating first on a spiritual level. And the moment when you see it from those lenses, you'll be able to fucking just spot opportunities left and right, because you'll realize that the most fruitful economies, the places where growth occurs, are the places where the spirit moves freely. Meaning, there's no fucking and when I say the spirit moves freely, it means where people are not only happy but spiritually happy first. Like, they're grounded spiritually grounded. They're not like it's not like it's this idea because like to be long term oriented, you have to be fucking spiritually connected. You have to be spiritually grounded. You have to be spiritually happy because that is the driving force that essentially allows you to fucking navigate and swagly fucking move through all the bullshit that you'll meet and see in your day to day life, right? When some shit happens and you gotta make a tough decision, you'll just know that because of long term, this hard decision has to be made and you won't hesitate. Furthermore, because you will have that idea of karma in mind and compassion and wellness for others. Because you'll see that, oh, fuck, even though I feel bad letting this person go, they haven't proven me otherwise that, like, they're actually worth keeping around or good for the company. And then furthermore, upon talking about them, you realize, oh, maybe they don't even want to do this. Like they've been just fucking doing it for the money for the longest time, and like I kind of don't even want that around me. So it's actually best that like this was handled with now than later on, right? Like it's like, and then like you realize, man, it's probably better because um, maybe your standard is annoying them on some level, and so you set them free to essentially figure their shit out. Maybe they'd be better off somewhere else, right? And then everyone's better because now like the people that are there are meant to be there instead of the shit where you're like forcing people to be there, right? And then on top of that, it essentially frees up resources to go where they should go, to hire the right people, the people who will make the best or good decisions with those resources and funds, as opposed to essentially always having to do damage control or fucking management when it's not even necessary, when everything is running smoothly, right? So those are capital, and always just have that in cash infusions or capital infusions, right? That's one way of thinking about it or seeing it. And then you then realize that, holy fuck, when I steal or take money that has not rightly, or money that I have not been explicitly cleared to take home, you realize that how big of a deal that actually is. Because now it's taking away from the fucking business. Not only the business resources, specifically, let's even talk about the money left over, the retained earnings, or the money left over after fucking dividends have been paid, after all business expenses and operations have been paid, etc. That money left over. It's like, because think of it as like, it's both the rainy day fund, but it's also the fucking money to have because it's vital to have capital at all times for the sake of you never know what will happen, for the sake of we never know when opportunities will present themselves, for the sake of the fucking divine inspiration, right? Because it's from there that it's like that whole, I mentioned this before, it's like the fucking, when in the old Bible they're like, bring to me the results of your labor so that I may bless it. It's like, I got fruits, I've got veggies, I've got meat. He's like, oh, nice, here is even more. You did so good, I'm so proud of you. So it's like that. It's like, it's based on that like people will see if you're not only doing the right things with your business or your plant, but you're actually caring about it in a way that like it can be fruitful, it can multiply, and then it can even attract more multiplying or more fruitful experiences to you. So that's how I think about it, right? So when you take from that pot without ever been cleared, when you do it in a way that's like, even if you fucking scheme for it, Because at the end, it's all intent, right? And having the intent to do it is just as bad, right? You're taking away from everyone's growth. You're taking away from maybe at the start of next quarter, when reanalyze business operations, salaries, you're taking away from a raise for everyone. You're taking away from like training, from like the business being able to call in people with higher quality information that will train the business and save the business billions in dollars from making bad choices, or even from knowing how to better use their technology, or even knowing or having access to new and upcoming technologies. You're taking away from all of that and more. And then furthermore, you're taking away from the global economy, which is what I want to talk about next. So, for example, you're like the creator of fucking money, right? Creator of cash. And you're like, so you're about to meet another world, another universe. Just take it as that, right? And then you're like, and then they're like, bro, dude, I've got something for you. I've been to your world, and like, I know you could use this tech. It's super fucking sensitive because it runs with consciousness. But I know you could fucking, like, you need this so bad. I don't understand how you don't have this yet. He's like, and I'm like, dude, and you're like, dude, thank you so much. I really want it. Okay, so what do I need to do? He's like, wait, actually on the second look, or he asks, he's like, wait, how good is your people? Because it's always like a screen or a test, right? And you're like, I don't know, let's find out. And then you're like, okay, this is how I'm going to find out. I'm going to release $1 trillion out into the world, right? And if I see exactly $1 trillion, right, reported from, like, you take all the people who are reporting money and then you add it up. And if it equals exactly $1 trillion, then you know they're good. And if it's not, then you start breaking up places where you know it, because you know exactly how much you released and where, right? So you go somewhere and you're like, they didn't report this money, so I know they're not trustful. They're not trustworthy. They didn't report. They're not trustworthy. They reported. They reported. They reported. They reported. They report. They didn't report. And then like going forward, you know the ones that are not trustworthy and the ones that are, right? And it just changes the nature and the essence of your relationship going forward. Because you know that there's some that get shook, or some that get fucking phased or hypnotized when they see a little bit of money. And then there's some that stay fucking true. That stay true to themselves. That always stay chills, always stay humble, and don't get shook by it. And then those are the ones that you reward. And those are the ones that don't, well. And then you go back to the dude, you're like, bruh, you're probably right. I guess they're not as good as I thought. But I found some that are. And if we just isolate them or make it to where the ones that aren't don't ever even come in contact with them or even fucking deal with them or nothing, I'm sure we could probably still give him your tech. What do you think? He's like, you're probably right. I could also even tweak the tech to make it to where it only works for those people and not for anyone else. He's like, yes! And you both go, and that's how it works. Fucking trust. Fucking wellness in mind. Fucking paying your taxes, right? Like, also think about this, right? Every time you pay the right amount, the exact amount of taxes, you're essentially making it possible to where the president or the leader of that country now has enough money to buy or upgrade technology, to upgrade infrastructure, to upgrade to the next level or highest possible quality level of information to where now, or to pay debts, to essentially help neighboring countries, to help everyone to where they can be developed to where now those potentials, remember the abilities I mentioned, the singing, the fucking writing, speaking, breathing into existence shit, can come to fruition to where now they can also become game changers of their ecosystem, which creates this insane positive effect to where there's more badass good shit out present into the world. And that's how fucking global development is done. That's how all this shit is linked. How fucking even stocks and doing good, not fucking inflating prices unnecessarily, or to even kind of take a step back, shorting your prices has like a tactic to essentially destroy businesses or fucking play with people's money, etc. Right? So what am I saying? So remember the pie, right? So split it in 4. Now this is worth 0.25 times $10, right? So now that means that each fucking slice is worth a half of 10 or a quarter of $10, right? Now that mean because of that, by doing that, obviously the whole pie is still worth $10, right? Now let's say that you took this pie and then instead of selling it at a quarter of $10, you sold it at like maybe 50% below that price. So what's 10 times 0.25? 10 times 0.25 is equal to $2.5. Now, say you sold that pie at like $1, right? Now, one slice is relatively, by some uncomprehensible reason, cheaper than all the other slices, right? So that needs to be atoned for, because now that slice is literally bringing down the value of the entire pie. Now, if, for example, your fucking soul told you to, meaning like you understood that there were more at play here than what's seen. Maybe the way the business was made was done unscrupulously. The fucking CEO made shitty deals or stole from people outright, or fucking jockeyed his way through life in a way to where now people were forced to sell shit to him at a lower price. And you saw that, and for some reason you cared, right? You care. And you were like, dude, I want to make this right, and this person is actually a really good person, so I'm gonna sell him to him at like a price that like begins a relationship with them, right? Okay, that's fair enough. Those are good intentions or good intent. But when you have bad intentions, meaning what you're gonna do is you're going to sell that price at a really small percent, right? And then what's going to happen is now the whole pie is below its original value, right? And then it essentially gets everyone around them to sell. Maybe it's like a goods, right? Commercial or normal or some typical good, right? Everyone around that is now going to be forced to sell below that price, right? And then slowly but surely what will happen is maybe you start playing, okay, I'm just going to sell $1 more than what everyone else is selling. $2 more, $3 more, $4 more. That's essentially what's called shorting. Meaning you're you're essentially bringing down the value of the business for your own gain. So that maybe at some point, maybe you know that something is about to happen. You're going to be able to capitalize on that event and then sell it at a higher gain later on. And personally, in my opinion, that's probably why I always hated like the idea of the stocks, because people don't realize what it actually does. You know, like it's very easy to like buy and sell um, slices of businesses, especially now with all this fucking. I forgot there's called something called ETF or H or I don't even know. It's like high frequency trading where you can sell like you can buy and sell millions of shares. Like in the past, originally, you'd only be able to buy a certain amount just to safeguard and preserve the authenticity and like the sanctity of the market. So that way, like changes in prices, like fluctuations, like would not occur so drastically. That's why those safeguards were put in place, to where now you couldn't sell 1,000 shares and then bring down the value of those fucking shares really, really small or bring them really, really high. And then it will create like a massive fluctuation in the market. You wouldn't be able to do that. But now, like once those things were gone, where now you can buy like 1,000,000 shares at a time and then sell 1,000,000 shares at a time, everything is just fucking crazy. And my point is, it's very easy to buy stuff like that on the screen because it's just numbers. But then it's a lot. It's something different when you look at the people whose businesses you're doing that to in the face. When you look at those families that you've uprooted or disrupted in the fucking face, it's a lot harder. And that's why I hate those fucking investment funds that do that shit. Because if it was their family, if it was their business that was being operated like that on, they wouldn't do that, right? Now you can say karma, maybe someone did that to them, and now they're getting back, and yeah, that's understandable. But when like every other people's livelihood that's involved in that shit and your own personal vendetta, then this vehicle is not the place to do that. Why don't you just get together, game a Monopoly or Scrabble, and just fucking hash it out like real dudes. So it's like I feel like stocks and playing the stock market creates a situation where people are not accountable or fully responsible for their actions. So on top of that, it's really shitty when you think about how a lot of them try to charge you to give them money to lose, right? So what do I mean? Like, first they charge you management fees. Like, look this up in Tony Robbins' book, Money Master the Game, and he talks about like how investment funds or a lot of like funds, fucking a lot of like money places or places that money management, they charge you or 2 or 3, 4, or 5% management fees. And it sounds really small, but the thing is, everything compounds, right? So if you make 100,000, if you have 100,000 to manage, you're already spending 10 grand of that, or however much, for nothing. Like 10 grand of that, you're essentially saying 10 grand of that goes up in the air for no reason at all. And then like you're essentially expecting a 90%, or you're essentially expecting a return on investment of like on 90 grand or 80 grand. And that's another fucking way. Like little word plays, loopholes that they try to get you on like that. Because you sign this agreement and it's like, oh, hidden fees included. And it's like, okay, but you don't realize that the hidden fees say, we're going to subtract 10 grand from the 100 grand. And you're essentially agreeing that you're expecting to see 90 grand back. And you don't even realize. Or they'll like create like bullshit metrics that literally have no value in the actual reality of it. Meaning, it's like bullshit metrics that literally actually do not show that you're getting money back, just to cover the fact that they're actually losing your money in the long run, or losing your money outright, and that they just want to like hold you for the long run, so that hopefully at some point they hope that like their bullshit behavior somehow gets corrected by the market, and then like you're able to see money back. So that's why I've always really shied away from that, shied away from like stocks and all that. But if I were to, my thing would be, if you're going to buy a stock, understand that like it's literally just because you're picking something that you love. Like you're like, back to what I was saying, wow, I really like what they're doing here. They're fucking awesome. I want to help. I would kind of want to be part of this and help that plant get more water, soil, and love, etc. Right? And that's literally it. Nothing more, nothing less. And you're very long-term oriented. And the beauty in doing this is like you're doing the right thing. And like I said, doing the right thing is literally like it's a currency in its own. It's not only building faith, it's not only building trust in yourself, but it's like the spiritual currency that can be manifested in different types of monies. And then one of them, for example, is like this idea of like unicorns, right? That's when they come about, because it's like the universe's way of saying, bruh, dude, I'm so proud of you. You've been doing the right thing for so long. Here's something to kind of like make you really happy. And literally this like business or stock or whatever will pop up at you almost as if by magic, where you can literally, it'll like tell you, like I don't know how else to put it in words, but it will tell you that, hey, you can actually buy this and instantly sell out, or you can buy, you if you just put your money here, you'll immediately see cash come out of it. It's like hitting the jackpot, so to speak. So it's like, holy shit. But like understand that like unicorns are not to be looked for, meaning they look for you, or they reveal themselves to you when the moment is right, or when you're deserving of it. It's not this thing that you just fucking chase after, but it's literally like a magical blessing or a magical recompensation from the universe. That was quite a mouthful. But yeah, like, so as you see, like, in all this, like, your role is really the thing that dictates and decides everything. It's like, do you do the right thing? Do you have other people's wellness in mind? Do you have pure intent and pure intentions? And instead of just, how can I freaking get a buck, get a buck, get a buck? But actually, like, like, how can I actually help others? Or do things in a way that everyone can profit from it. And then I profit too, right? Like, I'm not saying it's bad to, like, try to make money, but a lot of times your mindset dictates the behaviors and actions and even the vehicle that you'll choose that will essentially decide how you do that. And by how you choose to decide to do that, your impact on the world, either positive or negative, will be dictated. And obviously, that's your legacy. That's like the footprint that you leave on this earth. So by having really good intentions in mind, really good intent, you'll be picking a vehicle that's not only profitable, but extremely fruitful for not only your legacy, not only looking long term, but for the fucking world. And it sounds really cheesy. It almost sounds impossible because it just sounds too fucking simple. But it's the truest fucking shit ever. Like if you look at nations across the world, the ones that are thriving are the ones that have this mindset in mind, right? Like how can I make it possible to where there's more things possible? How can I create an ecosystem and an environment where more production or more creation can occur, to where more things can be fruitful from the get? Not this thing where it's like, survive or die, motherfucker. Survive or die, motherfucker. Because fruitful things naturally always just make it. But, and then once you realize that, you're like, holy shit, that's what it looks like when the spirit moves. That's what it looks like when the fucking soul's there. uh, anyways, I hope you guys got something out of this. And as always, swag the fuck out.